Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of the Pixel Crashers Podcast, a podcast where we discuss our thoughts on gaming news. I am Angelus de Mortiel, together with Kev the Gamer, and I forgot to unmute Skype because I'm a brain-dead punk. Anyway, Kev the Gamer's here.
I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you decided to unmute me this week. What up?
Censored.
Yeah, exactly, censored. And then we've got MajorStupidity.
Hey, everyone.
The lineup is off on the...
Yeah, it is. I see that. Something broke. And then we've got Deathshroud09.
Yes.
Apparently he's not even here.
The stream.
Yep, I done broke the stream, guys.
Just the webcam.
Congratulations. And we have our special guest here tonight, Nickodemus X, who you can only see his forehead because he's that important. We can't have his full face on the stream.
What's up?
Oh, so while I'm fixing the stream here, guys, give me just a few moments. And go ahead, guys, let's start talking about the games you're playing while I'm fixing these up. And we'll go ahead and start with Joe, since he has some amazing gaming news that he's very proud of.
Yes, I've been playing Undertale, finally. Finally got around to playing it. It's in the vein of, like, classic JRPGs in the art design and a lot of the mechanics. It was actually a Kickstarter project that came out in September, finally. The full version came out. Great thing about it is it's one of those games where it's very much a deconstruction of the genre, and that a lot of what it does is it pokes at, like, the tropes that are very consistently in that genre. Like, usually if you give the player an option to be a dick, they'll be a dick. Like, people will go... You hear the stories about people going into, like, Bethesda games and just going on rampages every once in a while. It's like, this game, when you do that, basically is like, you're a bastard for just going and murdering all these innocent people. Like, it's like...
That's what GTA is for.
That's what's great, though, is, like, it encourages you go and you have the option to do, like, you can do a pacifist run, you can actually spare everyone you see, and you get, like, the golden ending. I won't spoil it, but, you do pacifist run, you get the golden ending, and then when you go to actually start the game over again, you'll have one of the characters come up, break the fourth wall, and be like, hey, everyone's living happily now, happily ever after. They got the golden ending. It's like, do you really want to have to go, and because if you want to start a new game, you have to completely overwrite your save file. So basically, it's telling you, are you willing to throw away their happy endings? Like, they're all living happily ever after. You're going to throw that away so that you can go through the game again?
You're a selfish person.
Yeah, so pretty much they're an absolute dick to you.
Well, like, questions why you do this. Like, you go and it's like, most people, the final route they do is they do the genocide route, which is where you murder everyone. Like, you have to go to your way to kill everyone.
Fable 3.
Yeah.
When you do this, though, like... it calls you out on it. It's like you are just like this murderous monster. Like a lot of the creatures in the game, because you interact with people who aren't really human. Like normally, if you're not like being a total dick, they'll acknowledge like, oh, it's a human. But when you're like genocide route, they don't even recognize you as human. Like they're like the monsters start evacuating. Like you'll go through certain areas and you start murdering everyone. You go into the first town. And normally when you go there, there's all the NPCs around and there's a shopkeeper. When you go in there on a genocide route, town's fucking barren. You go inside the shop, the shopkeeper's gone.
Wow,
and you can steal their shit too. Like the game.
That just sounds like Fable 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm
played
hearing.
this game. Is it on PS4?
I'm not sure.
Not yet. It's supposed to come to PS4.
What's the name of this game?
Undertale.
Sounds very interesting.
It is
like a stress reliever.
Yes.
Get home from work just angry and just kill everybody.
I just call it Doge the game.
The dogs are pretty interesting. Like it has a lot of really nice characters too. That's the worst part of that genocide route is you were supposed to do it last, so you do all the other endings and such. You get to know the characters.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of them are great characters, and you get to care about them. And then it's like genocide.
And you get to kill them.
Yeah, and some of them, like, you go up to one character who's, like, one of the nicest guys in the game, and throughout the fight, he doesn't even really try to fight you. He flat out is just like, I know you're a good guy.
Oh,
it's like,
man.
He's like, he wants to spare you. He doesn't want to fight you. And you just go and fucking one-shot him, and he's just like, well, okay. It's just like, you feel like such a bastard murdering him. And
It's got to be done.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have the same reaction you did. Because I feel no remorse in these games.
See, I had remorse. Like, I remember when, oh yeah, well, I shouldn't say it because Travis hasn't played it, but I'm still going to. When I killed Tally in Mass Effect, and I just realized I forgot to start the stream on my Twitch channel.
Yeah, you forgot
kill
to
Tally
host
in Mass
it.
Effect.
Man,
Yeah, I did.
I know enough about Mass Effect that
Well-
I know I know who Tally is. I know
Spoiler
that's an
alert.
option.
Spoiler alert.
Well, no, all I'm gonna say is like you can kill her, and when I killed her, I felt like a
you
complete
actually killed her because from what
You
I
don't
remember,
choose to
she
kill
killed
her, It's a
herself.
consequence of
Yeah,
you
she
making a-
kills herself.
Yeah, but she's my favorite character, which is probably why I felt like a dick, because she's my favorite character in the games. I was like, Tally, no. Like Garrus, I don't give a damn. I'll kill Garrus 8-9 times.
Oh,
Don't
Oh,
kill Tally.
Garrus was my boy, man.
I don't dislike
Ah.
Garrus, but I don't have that attachment to Garrus like I do to say like Rex or Grunt or Tally or Liara. Those are the people I gave a damn about.
Yeah.
Mm.
Liara was that was my
Characters that matter because stuff.
I haven't found a game where like that, like where I've cared about characters like I have in the Mass Effect trilogy. Like I want to like Piper in Fallout 4. I really do like her, but I don't love her. If she died, I'd be like, yeah, well,
I mean, it's
she's
the
dead,
best.
so.
It's the best that Bethesda can do with making characters.
It's
Not gonna
rare
say
where
that.
games will have characters that make you care for them like that, though. That's hard to pull
I don't know.
off.
I managed to do it in Undertale. Like I felt really awful killing that first guy who is just like, I want to spare you. He's like, I know you're a good guy underneath. It's like, I know you don't want to actually do this, and then you just murder him. And it's
It's
just
under
like,
my cat's
oh,
Well, why did
Undertale.
you murder him then? Why'd you do it?
that's what's great.
Sometimes
That's
you
what
gotta
the game's
murder a
asking
motherfucker, you
That's what
know?
the game is like. Throughout the game, they're always asking you. It's like, why are you doing this? It's like one character near the end, like the kind of final boss. I won't spoil who it is, but he flat out is like, you could stop at any time. At one point, he acknowledges he's like, I can't beat you. Like they'll acknowledge your ability to save and go back into the world. So he'll flat out just like, I know I can't beat you because you'll just keep coming back. So at one point, he just like he's like, it's my, during the turn-based combat, he actually will go into his turn, and then he's like, my turn will never end. He's like, now you won't be able to do anything. You'll just get bored and quit. And yeah, that's what, like, it's what's great. The game is so like breaks the fourth wall, and just it's mainly just asking you why. Like he flat out is like, you're doing this just because you can. Like he speaks to the player itself
Mhm.
and is like, you're not doing this because you're good or evil. You're not doing this for some grand plan. You're just doing this because you can, and because you can, you will.
I don't know. Can you consider? I feel like Undertale is to the point where it's not even breaking the fourth wall. Like the fourth wall doesn't exist.
It is because really your character, like you as the player, are almost a character within the game, really from the beginning, almost.
Yeah, it's
And how
like
it acknowledges you. But that's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah, I could see it. Like, I actually enjoy certain games. Depending on how they do the fourth wall breaks, I tend to enjoy those games a lot because it's like, it kind of says, hey, by the way, this is a video game, and we're not scared to break the immersion because, well, it's a video game.
Yeah.
You know?
They do a good job
Deadpool
of
did it really well.
They roll it
Deadpool
together
is
within the
great.
lore, so it's almost like it makes sense in the lore why you can do certain things. Again, it would be spoiling it to give away what it is, but they actually managed to.
Well, you're the king of spoilers.
Yep.
Oh no.
Yep.
You spoiled Fallout New Vegas as I was playing it on the show.
Oh, you can't even spoil that. Like, how do you spoil Fallout?
That's not
New Vegas?
cool. That is
You go
not
into the game and you ask the first person in town.
Plenty of
like,
shit for it.
Here's the factions. Here's the main factions. They're fighting over the
All I hear is
dam.
damage control.
It's like, how does the
All I
game
hear is
end?
damage
A
control.
big fight over the fucking Hoover Dam that they've been building up towards from the beginning of the game. It's like, there's no spoiler there.
Yeah, there is.
I was in like the first hour. I was in the first
no,
hour.
you
and
see,
that's
you
just
see,
damage control.
it is kind of a spoiler because at that point you expect there to be like a twist. You don't actually expect it to be that laid out. And be like, oh, this is exactly what's gonna happen because I got told. You think, oh, something different's gonna happen. The game's gonna twist it on me.
See,
That's how
Obsidian doesn't have to do that.
Spoiler because
Yeah. Well, the thing is that certain games you expect to have a twist, but I don't really expect a whole lot of twists out of Bethesda, let's be honest. It's not exactly like the things that
I won't spoil it, but the twist in Fallout 4, I saw coming.
I saw it coming.
I saw
it coming, but I didn't see it
They even
like
hinted.
100%. I
Like-
was like
Mhm.
80% of the way there.
Yeah, they even foreshadowed it, and then just happened to kind of take it beyond what they initially foreshadowed it to be.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with foreshadowing. Like,
Oh,
I think they actually did a
foreshadowing's
really
great.
good job with
Foreshadowing.
the foreshadowing Fallout 4.
I'm just saying, like, it's just the twist wasn't that surprising, you know.
Yeah, well, the thing is there's certain games that do twists amazingly well. Like like some of the what was it? There is and I can't remember. My brain went dead on this one. But there was
I'm
some.
waiting to go back to KOTOR. Somehow there's a plot twist in KOTOR, even though I've never played it, and I know it's
Yeah,
coming.
the original KOTOR. You haven't played the original KOTOR?
I've never played any of them.
Oh, you need to go play them.
I wasn't even interested in Star Wars until earlier this year.
You need to go play them. Like, even if you don't like Star Wars, like, they're just damn good games. Like, they stand on their own without having to be like, they just happen to be about Star Wars. They don't sit and lean on it. Like, they don't need the Star Wars.
Right, they're just in the universe, and that's what I get now.
Because they're just.
But I didn't see any of the movies until this year because my son got me to watch them with him.
Yeah. You didn't see any of the movies
he wanted
this
me to
year?
watch the original trilogy.
Hey,
no, I never saw any of them. I was not
interested. Canada
Wow.
just watched them. Like, just recently, he got into it.
And are you on board now that you've seen them?
Yeah, I saw the original trilogy, and I really liked them. I still haven't seen the second set, which I heard are like really bad. So
they're not as bad as people make them.
They're not. They're not.
I have them on a flash drive. I just haven't watched them.
Honestly, I'd say the prequels are not bad, and it's largely it's because people who are like super crazy fans of the original ones are like, yeah, that's the big thing is that they're like they want that original.
Point. Like they do have issues.
How much time passed between the original trilogy and then?
Like 25 years? I thought it was 25 years or something like that.
It was like the early 80s into the early 2000s.
Like so, when you have that amount of time that passes...
It was 15 years, because Return of the Jedi was 84, and then Phantom Menace was 99.
When you have that amount of time pass, it allows people to pass from one stage of their life to another, and that creates a lot of nostalgia. Mm-hmm. And nostalgia breeds that kind of... it's not like the original, so it's not as good. I mean,
I'm leaning this towards the internet.
To a point, the prequel has issues. Like,
yes, it has issues. I'll give you that. It has issues, but is it as bad as a lot of people say it is?
I think Phantom Menace is.
Probably not.
And Attack of the Clones.
Phantom Menace had a lot of issues
that a lot of fluff that just I didn't give two shits about.
Like midi-chlorians. Like, since when has this actually been a thing in Star Wars?
Clone Wars, it's Hayden Christensen and what's her name's romance. Like, they're just so bad. Every scene with those two was just dreadful.
Well, I would largely, no offense, I'd largely blame it on Natalie Portman. She's like one of my least favorite actors. Like, honestly, V for Vendetta would have been 100 times better had she not been in it.
Yeah. Those two almost, like, they alone could probably kill, the Attack of the Clones, the second one.
Yeah.
Because their romance was just so bad. There was no chemistry. The writing was awful.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of it I felt was like, Hayden Christensen's not bad. I actually liked him in Jumper a lot. That was actually a pretty good movie. But
in the prequels, he had moments where it was like, he had moments. It wasn't awful, but he had moments that you stuck in your head as like,
of course, as we said on the Pixel Crashers podcast, we only talk about video games and not other nerdy things like Star Wars.
Star Wars is a video game. It's a video game.
I mean,
there's video games. We started out talking about KOTOR, so it's kind of
the thing about Star Wars with me is that I watched them. Like, I didn't grow up with them, and I watched the original trilogy and the movies that came after it in a relatively short span of time. So I didn't have that, like, I didn't take the series, I didn't take the Star Wars universe as seriously as some other people do. That's why, like, Jar Jar Binks doesn't bother me as it does other people. Like, he's just like, he's a comedy character, and it doesn't bother me because I didn't take I didn't take the universe really seriously. So having that character that was like really out there didn't bother me as much.
Yeah. I found he was really annoying.
Yeah, like,
I couldn't stand it.
Honestly, his character felt kind of contrived to me in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it was, but at the same time, like, It's not the end of the world. It
It's just
could
every
be
time he
worse.
opened his mouth, I was like, this movie could literally be doing anything, and it would probably be a better use of its time than giving this guy more lines.
You guys will see. You
Wow.
guys will see.
That's messed up.
By the way, spoiler alert: in the Force Awakens, Jar Jar Binks is that Sith Lord that you see in the ads.
See, I love those twists.
he's been alive this whole time and hiding.
How's
And,
that for a twist?
Yeah,
Right
because
there.
you see that face mask. It looks like Jar Jar's face could fit in that. I'm just
You want
throwing
to
that
piss
out there.
these nerds off. You want to piss them off. That's the way to do it.
Jar Jar
Right there.
Binks is a Sith Lord.
Yes.
With one of the coolest lightsaber
I
designs.
I would not want to be in that theater.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Oh my god.
The
I
rage,
like
the nerd
that
rage would be
scene.
strong.
Yes.
I like that.
Well, I mean, let's be real about it while we're talking about nerd rage. The internet amplifies everything. So people
yeah.
say that the internet, it's either amazing or it's the worst thing ever.
Complete trash.
Yeah, that's the internet. So I don't think these movies are probably the worst thing ever, but it's the internet. Like people are going to say outlandish things.
What are you talking about? Everything anybody says on the internet is 100% accurate and true.
Just
Why
like
would
I heard that on the internet.
X Titans.
Why would anybody do
I've heard
that?
on the
Just go
internet.
on the internet and lie. Gosh.
Yeah,
you
no-
don't watch a lot of these same YouTube channels that me and Nick probably see.
yeah.
People lie about their consoles on the internet all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Overcompensating.
What
Just
were
like
we
were
talking about?
before.
What were we talking about? Dodge Viper earlier today?
Yep. Just like
Yep.
the Dodge Viper. little
That's
pee-wee
in the 15
guys on the internet overcompensating.
Yep.
Mhm. What was it? Go 0 to 60 in 15 seconds, just like a lot of these guys. Wasn't that what we were saying?
Oh hell, the Dodge
Something.
Viper's less than 10 seconds.
Yeah, like that.
Bang bang, and we done.
When they say in and
Done,
out,
son.
they mean in and out.
Walk away, drop the mic on you. I'm done.
That's what she doing. She walking away, dropping the mic, mad as hell, calling her girlfriends mad.
Or that
And
other
he ain't
dude.
shit.
Or that other dude.
Maybe. So how about video games?
Yeah, so
those
anyway,
things, yeah.
so let's go and
They're
get
all right.
Kev, what have you been playing this week?
I started Mad Max again because I started earlier in the year, or when it first came out. I was just kind of burned on open world games, so I gave it a break, came back to it this week. Loved that, and I'm starting to get ready for my Christmas noob run. So I got Black Ops 3.
I need to get back on that. I need to get back on that for them Christmas noobs. I forgot about that.
It was double XP weekend too, so
Oh.
I'm getting ready for them Christmas noobs.
Yes. The slaughter. Let it begin.
Oh
And we're just
they're
gonna-
slaughtering me right now. The head glitch is real.
And we're all gonna laugh because Kev is gonna get on there like, I'm gonna kill me some Christmas noobs, and then he's gonna be like 0-26,
They're gonna wreck his shit.
and,
You know,
and
my
he's just
first
gonna be
couple
like,
games, I was like 3-23, no joke. Right now, I'm hovering like I'll either go like just over a 1KD or just under. So yeah, I'm not doing great. We know Morty used to be MLG and shit, but I'm not.
Are you playing it on PC?
Not PS4.
Oh, you are? Okay, we gotta
No,
get
the PC version is busted. I ain't mess with the PC version.
We gotta get together on that. I'm gonna get back on that.
Oh yeah, I'll shoot you my tag. Well, everybody knows my gamer tag, so it ain't no secret. Or my
yeah, it
gamer
is.
tag.
Yeah, it is. It's a big secret. By the way, everybody, spam Kev with a bunch of requests just because.
I don't care. Go for it. Let's play some games. We already know how I feel about a lot of the people out here. Like a lot of people are afraid to play games together. I want to play games.
I don't want to play
Yeah.
games with all you noobs. You guys are a bunch of
You
content.
know what? Let me play
Content.
against the noobs. It'll only increase my KD.
You know what I don't like is when people send you friend requests and never play with you. Like
Yes,
I'm really being careful about that. I'm not putting you on my friends list unless we're really going to play together at least once every couple months. I mean, I don't understand
Yeah.
that. I don't understand what people put so many people on their friends list for. Is like a status thing, or are they overcompensating or something? I don't get
Yes.
of
that.
course.
Well,
Yeah, they are.
It is.
You
They
see,
want to be popular.
back
So-
when I was younger and I didn't have as many life priorities, and whenever I used to play Xbox, I
You PC elitist.
I had a system where I would only allow a certain amount of days between when I last played with a person, unless they were a very small group of people I talked to actively. And I might not have played with them. If a certain amount of days went by, they were off my friends list.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because on Xbox 360 you can only get like 70, 80 people.
Right. I never
Yeah.
understood what was the deal with that. Like people like Hector or Invader 1, you know, whenever he would have to like cycle people in and out of his friends list. You know, and he didn't like that. He would tell me all the time, I hate it. I have to like leave a bunch of people with their friends
It's the
request
same
pending.
reason that Blizzard only gives like 9 deck slots in Hearthstone. It would confuse people if they had to manage more than that.
No. Yeah.
Now we got 2,000 friends limit. 2,000.
2,000. Why does that have to be? Why can you not have infinite? I don't understand. It's not a space
Some
thing.
arbitrary limits.
They seem to do it just because it's funny or something. I don't know. Like, I don't see how there would be any kind of...
I mean, I can't understand it because you're just adding names to a network, so essentially it's just playing an Active Directory.
Morty,
Yeah.
you know how corporate works, all right? Like,
I understand how Active Directory works. There's no reason for them not to be able to let you do it.
Yeah, like, honestly, if I'm able to map in, 500,000 people into an LDAP on an Exchange server, yeah, I just threw a bunch of technical jargon at everybody.
Do that.
Well, I mean, dumb it down for them. Basically, on the network, you can create so many users, or you can create basically many users as you want to. These are like the Xbox Live network, PSN network. This is me and Nick were talking about this before we went on live. That's why I don't understand why PSN goes down so much. It's set it and forget it. It's all there in Microsoft Server, whatever version you use. There's no reason for these artificial limitations on there. Really, there's no reason to even make you pay for it because they're not really doing anything. They automated a security group basically. That's all you pay it, you put the code in, and it unlocks it.
Oh, there's a reason. They want that money. That's the reason.
Yeah, but they are literally doing nothing. It's basically like turning off parental controls on your everyday.
Make money for less.
That's not exactly unprecedented nowadays.
That's like asking why my ISP feels the need to charge me if I go over a data cap.
Oh my! Let's go ahead and get into that.
Told me it's because they don't want you to eat up all of the bandwidth because everybody's using it.
Okay,
pro tip.
No.
Like then upgrade your infrastructure.
No. Here's
that's so many people at one time.
Guys, let's. I'll debunk this for you guys real quick here. Let me turn my mic volume down so I stop clipping like
You're
crazy.
better at this than I am.
So here's the fallacy in that whole like bandwidth argument or network congestion argument is that by giving this arbitrary data cap on a monthly limit, the thing about network congestion is it changes from 1 hour to the next throughout the day. Imposing data caps, say, for using your internet between 5 and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, that would make sense to me. That would be limiting congestion. Just having an arbitrary, an actual arbitrary like number on there for the month, no, that's not for congestion. And the thing is that it's provable that it's bullshit whenever the CEO of Comcast tries to liken internet and the as a service to finite non-renewable energy sources such as gasoline and coal electricity. It's right. They obviously have no clue what's going on, and the only reason they're doing any of this is because they're making more money. There's no congestion. That's all bullshit. It's all just to make them money.
I like to talk about network, as far as network bandwidth, like a freeway, like a street on the road. You're not going to charge anybody for extra money for continuously using the road. The difference is, of course, the network isn't really going to deteriorate over time. But it's kind of the same concept. It's like you're only going to get congestion if there's a lot of people using it at once. Mm-hmm. If it's for using it too much, you can drive down the street in front of your house as much as you want to, and it's not going to make a big difference in the
thing is. Here's the thing: is that this is the kind of lie that they spread on there is that is that for some reason they need to limit your usage because it increases their maintenance costs too. I've heard that one, and I'm like, really? Because electricity is going through those lines, or in the case of fiber optic networks, light is passing through those lines, no matter if I'm using it or not.
Yep.
So it's not going to do anything, and that's like, it's completely arbitrary crap. And
It's bullshit.
this is the way that you can easily show this is the case. Verizon Wireless, and kind of AT&T followed suit on here. Verizon Wireless back in the, say, early 2000s, for example, there's little to no data. And early into the 2000s, little to no data ever used. They had crazy overages on minutes, right? If you went over your minute allotment. And that was that way up until probably I would say about 2007, 2008, they actually had smartphones out and just said, yeah, here's a data plan, whatever, we don't care, use whatever you want. But if you go over your minutes, you're going to get charged. And they would make decent money off of those overages.
It's the same bullshit.
All of a sudden, people started realizing, hey, I can use Skype, or I can use whatever these other alternatives to calling.
Yep.
Essentially they realized, oh shit, we're not going to be making overages off of the minutes anymore. And all of a sudden, they switched to now where all of their plans have unlimited minutes, but finite data.
Yeah.
And it's the same. It's all the same conceptually.
It's all the same. It's just more or less now they realize that data is the one that they make money off of. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
But as Zyphon was saying, that's a good point on there, is that I would be fine with how I'm okay with how cell companies do it. I personally have the grandfathered unlimited data plan from Verizon, and I use a lot. But the one thing that I agree with is either A, charge for uncapped speeds but a data limit. In other words, you can use however many gigs per month, but whatever speed you get. There's no ceiling. Or the alternative is you pay for tiers of speed, but you have no limits.
Tiers of speed.
Yeah, well, Comcast is this is what Comcast says to all their customers. So, no, essentially speed tiers and no data cap, or data cap with unlimited speed. That to me is the fair consumer balance that we've struck nowadays. Comcast is like, nope, we're going to do both. You pay for speed and a cap. Oh, and you want unlimited? That's an extra $40 a month.
That's everyone. I have to go through a plan with my city, and they even do it. Mm-hmm. They harass me because I use about they say I use close to a terabyte a month, but they don't give me any way to actually monitor it, so it's just their word.
Well, right now Comcast doesn't have, my internet here doesn't have any data cap yet. Like if I go to my account and look at it, it says you've used so much, but it's not enforced. So they actually say there's a data cap, but it's not enforced at this time. By the way, they always like to say that it's not a data cap. It's not a data cap. It's, because we're not going to cut anybody off. It's like, no, motherfucker, it's a data cap. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, pretty much. But how about the news? We're already 30 minutes in.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get on. Anybody else have any games they want to throw out there real quick?
I've been playing Audio Surf with Christmas music.
What's that? Is that one game? I remember a game way back in the day that was more or less based upon the music you gave it. Is that what that one's doing?
Yeah, it's like that little car/Guitar Hero type game where you leap from lane to lane, and the track goes up and down with the music that you play.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been doing that with Christmas music.
Funny story. There's a new game that Steam allows you to play. Allows you to delete games you don't want, and I deleted that game.
Yeah. Nick, you been playing anything interesting?
Yes, sir, I have. I've been playing the Uncharted multiplayer beta. Yes. Does anybody like Uncharted?
Love Uncharted.
No?
What is this? That's an Xbox One exclusive, right?
Of course. That's why they're selling so much. Yes. That's why they're in the lead this generation, because of Uncharted.
Yeah, it's
catching up.
Uncharted is Microsoft's #1 best-selling game of all time.
Amazing. But this multiplayer, man, it's really surprised me. I actually thought, because of the previous Uncharted multiplayers, which I didn't play myself, but I heard so much bad things about it. I thought it was going to be trash because they implemented a lot of what they call mysticals, basically overpowered powers, kind of like Destiny's, what they call Destiny's superpower stuff.
Yeah, the supers.
Yeah, the
There's
supers.
called
Thank you.
supers.
Yeah, supers.
What? So
So
what are
they
the
implemented
mysticals
a lot of
like?
that. So the mysticals, they're just like perks, really, honestly. One of the perks is basically you toss this big totem in the middle of the map, and it hits the enemies that pass by it. Um, another perk is you have sidekicks, and basically you call on a sidekick, and he'll either run around the map and chokehold somebody so you can shoot him, or there's another sidekick. He has a big heavy weapon and he shoots anybody that he sees on the map. But when I heard about all that, at first I thought it was going to be overpowered, one hit kills. But honestly, it's not. Like the mysticals and all the powers are really buff, really nice to where it's not one hit kills. Like it takes a couple of hits to knock someone down, even when you're using those powers. So I found that refreshing. Also, it's third person, so I love third person games off top. So that was definitely a plus immediately. Also, the level design is really cool. They implemented basically the stuff from like the action and stuff from the single player, and they implement it into the multiplayer. I don't really know how to describe it, but basically you can run around the map, hook on your grappling hook, get to another place on the map, higher terrain. It runs, yeah, man, it's real fluid. I was really impressed. Like I picked it up not expecting much, and I really haven't been able to put it down.
That's actually pretty
Since.
awesome.
I wish I would have kept my copy of the collection now because I couldn't play the multiplayer, but I played the collection. I love the collection.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Uncharted has definitely been it's kind of what I call it's a spectacle, puzzle type adventure game. That's one of the things that I always liked about the old school Tomb Raider games is that they threw in some puzzles. In later games they got better at kind of making some of the spectacle in there, but the thing where you feel like the environment you're in is alive and it's you get that, like, you really get invested in the character.
It's funny because it feels like Uncharted took a lot of cues from like the original Tomb Raider.
Yeah, it did.
And then when they do the reboot of Tomb Raider, they basically ripped off wholesale parts of Uncharted into it.
Yep.
And they both ripped off
full
Indiana
circle.
Jones.
You know what that's called? That's called evolution.
Yep. That's the way it works.
When back in my day, we called it biting.
Yeah, that's what we used to call it back in the G.
Anyway, let's get on to our first story here. So Techland, the developer of Dying Light, is releasing their Game of the Year edition. Obviously, Dying Light was a great game. The surprise, though, was that, like, normally Game of the Year edition comes out, hey, maybe it might be a little bit cheaper or whatever, but usually you have to buy it again if you want the Game of the Year thing that has all the DLC and whatnot.
Why are these editions always called Game of the Year edition even when they don't actually get
They might have. Sometimes they don't call them Game of the Year edition. If they really didn't win, they'll call it like the Ultimate Edition or something like that. But this one though,
edition.
they're actually giving it out to owners of it for free.
Good.
Which is like, I haven't really seen that before. Usually it's
I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
They
usually
should.
if there's a Game of the Year edition, you have to buy it again if you want it, or if you already have all the DLC, whatever, you already got all the DLC. So my thought is, do you guys think this should be a more commonplace thing,
Yes.
or is this
Hell yes.
Yes.
A resounding hell yes.
I still
Yes.
have a bad taste in my mouth from Dark Souls 3, where I go and
Yeah.
I pay full price when it came out for the PC version, and then bought all the DLC when it came out, and then they come out with their, we got DirectX 11, new version of it that's the Scholar of the First Sin, basically Game of the Year edition. And they actually divide the community so that people who have the original game can't play with people who have Scholar of the First Sin. So if you want to keep up the community, you have to buy the new version. Now you can upgrade to it. It was, what was it, like $30 for people who didn't already have the DLC? So they were basically
it was the same price regardless, wasn't it? If you had the DLC or not.
No, it was it was the same. Like, people who had the base game with none of the DLC paid the exact same, I think, as us who had all the DLC.
Yeah.
They basically made me pay $20 to upgrade my version so I can keep up with the community, even though I spent, paid full price for the entire game and all the DLC.
Yeah.
Let's
hope that more people start copying Techland. Think if they did this with like The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
That would be fucking amazing. Because The Witcher 3 is already a massive game, and then the DLC is massive, and then they give it to all the owners for free after a year. just for saying, "Hey, thanks for supporting us."
The only way other developers are going to follow suit is if it proves to be successful. So how would you measure the success of something like this?
Where you give it now, here would be the way I would measure the success, because obviously when a Game of the Year edition comes out, it tends to get a buff in sales, because people will see like, oh hey, here's the game with all DLC. Like for example, Dragon Age Inquisition, which royally fucked everybody by the final DLC come out 2 weeks before the Game of the Year edition came out.
Oh, I was pissed.
They pulled a Borderlands 2.
Yeah, so they kind of fucked people there. But a lot of times they'll see a buff in sales. But if they see an increased amount of player retention long after that, especially from the people that originally purchased the game and maybe didn't get the DLC, and now they get all the DLC for free, because that's pretty much what it is. They just more or less said, hey, Merry freaking Christmas, here's all the DLC for free. If that boosts retention, and maybe like essentially where you would look at is Techland's next game. You know, where is Techland's next game going to get an increase in sales because of how they support a Dying Light?
It feels like this is a very little downside to them, just because most people who buy like the base game, at least early on, they're pretty likely to buy the DLC. So a lot of those people probably had already purchased at least some of the DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I think this goes a long way to Techland too, because people have been singing the praises of Techland all year long. I was actually surprised when I watched the Game Awards that they weren't nominated for Developer of the Year. At least I don't think they were. Yeah, because they have been some of the best developers out of everyone this year.
I don't know.
But I think everybody,
Red.
yeah, but I would say Techland is right up there with them. With the way they supported Dying Light. Dying Light support. Say anything you want to say about Techland. The support for Dying Light has been amazing. Like, and it makes me want to go out and buy the game. Well, I already own the game, but it would make me want to. Even if they did a Game of the Year edition like that, I'd maybe consider buying it.
I know one thing is giving them attention. This little thing they're doing right now is because I don't even have Dying Light, and I kind of forgot all about Dying Light. But hearing this,
it's a good game from what I'm hearing.
Honestly, like one of the things I heard it best summarized is it took a lot of different elements from a lot of different a lot of different zombie survival games and kind of mashed them together in a really smooth and way that felt great. And it was
now I have played a little bit of it. But it started giving me motion sickness, and I was playing with the settings, and then I got into another game. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of Dead Island with the mix with Mirror's Edge.
That's
what a lot of people compare it to.
That's the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that essentially, and the parkour system there was pretty good for, although it had a few hiccups here and there, like because first person free running is a little tricky at times. Mirror's Edge actually did it pretty well, but Mirror's Edge didn't have like trees, it was all cityscapes. So, but I think it actually kind of worked out for him overall. It actually worked well. It was fairly well received. A lot of people were a little tired on the zombie genre by then though, and that's really the only thing that hurt them. The thing is that
I didn't get it.
Yeah,
kind of burnt out on the zombies.
But it's a good game worth getting though.
Yeah, the thing that the only problem with Dying Light, the major glaring issue, and I don't know about the DLC, I haven't kept up with it very much. The glaring issue was the story. The antagonist in that was the most stereotypical, cliche son of a bitch.
He was awful.
He literally made no attempts to actually make me dislike him. I was just like, literally, are you just going to tie me to a chair and tell me your entire evil plot? Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. Seriously, he was the most cliche and boring antagonist ever. But I also recognize that I'm really rough on story content, and I am very, I want to say I'm very harsh on badly done antagonists. I have very high standards for them and feel like very few people do them well.
If you're not Joker, then you're a bad antagonist.
Like, period. Joker is well done. I think there's been a few antagonists that were pretty well done.
I think Joker's probably the best one. Like, ever written, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, like as far as historically goes, yes, he's a great antagonist for Batman because historically his kind of mythos was.
He's an excellent foil to Batman because a lot of what he represents is
Everything Batman's
antithesis.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's chaos, Batman is order, not good and evil, which is one of the things that whenever they redid it brilliantly in The Dark Knight, that was what they were kind of keeling on is it's not good versus evil, it's order versus chaos. Batman is kind of trying to keep order, and Joker is just having a field day not. And Heath Ledger, rest in peace, did a freaking brilliant job in that role.
Oh, man.
And it's
who did I forget in Arkham Knight, this they did a really good job with that too.
well, you know who that was, right?
I forget who it was.
It's Mark Hamill. It's Luke
Yeah, Mark
Skywalker.
Oh.
If you want to see him do that role, the exact same role, mind you,
Asylum too.
the same role, but in live action, he actually was in the CW show Flash twice, playing the Trickster, which, let's be honest, was just more or less the Flash version of the Joker.
Oh, what a ripoff!
Yeah, he literally was
That's
playing
cheesy.
his Joker character in that. And I'm sorry, seeing his facial expressions while he's doing that voice is fucking priceless. I love it. Because you only, like in the Arkham games, you only see Joker's face articulated so much. But seeing Mark Hamill's face articulated while he's talking like that, it's great. And I'm like, okay, I kind of like seeing Mark Hamill do that in real life. But yeah, in any case, though, something I'd point out here is so there's other styles of Game of the Year editions, kind of twisting it back on topic here. For example, Bethesda, with at least Oblivion Oblivion that I'm aware of, was more in depth and aware of, is so they had like a lot of DLC for Oblivion. They had essentially two main pieces of DLC, but then they had the other little piecemeal bits, the little houses. And when they put out the Game of the Year edition, it just had the two main pieces of DLC, the Knights of the Nine and Shivering Isles, which were, of course, the most expensive. Do you think a way for, like, say, if Bethesda did that with with one of their, like, say, with Oblivion, if they gave people who bought Oblivion, like, a couple years later, whatever, when they put out Game of the Year, it's like, hey, here's this major DLC for free. Do you think the way they could tell the increase in that is if they saw a jump in sales of the other tertiary DLC?
Yeah.
I feel like I just overworded that crazy.
Right, I get what you're saying though, but yeah, I agree with that. You're basically saying that will we see any game sales or increase for the base game because we did that with the DLC for the Game of the Year?
Yeah,
to dumb it down. Yeah, I totally. I think that could definitely happen.
Yeah, but my hope is that someone else takes note of this. Like, I also thought Creative Assembly did a pretty good job with Rome 2 Total War whenever they gave out the Emperor Edition free, to all current owners, because, as they said, it was essentially their way of apologizing for how bad Rome 2 was out whenever it launched.
They need to do that with Destiny. Destiny seriously needs it.
Thanks for participating in our paid beta.
Yeah, but Destiny won't do it. The reason why is because Bungie is notoriously stingy with late
everything.
Yeah, like it's kind of like Activision too. And you know what?
Activision will still charge you $50 for a season pass for Call of Duty World at War.
World at War, yeah. Like, what is it? 5 years old now?
Not like sales.
More than that.
No.
It's like 7.
World at War is like 7. It came out like 2008.
Yeah, so it's like Activision doesn't like to do it, and Bungie doesn't like to do it. So it's like the marriage of the two stingiest, game companies. It's not going to happen.
Everyone's racing to buy our games at full price 4 years after they came out because they wouldn't already buy them.
To be completely fair, Joe, Activision's business model with Call of Duty doesn't really Activision's business model is with Call of Duty. They don't expect anybody to play their game.
Yeah, so why do they charge full
because they don't
price?
support them. I tried to go play World at War like a couple years back.
Oh, hacker
just
crazy.
Hackers
Yep.
everywhere. They don't give two shits. They're like,
Yeah.
There's
next
hackers on
game's out, go buy it, motherfuckers. We're not doing shit.
Why-
there's
why
hackers
would-
on Black Ops 3 on PC. It's full of hackers now, and that's one of the reasons I got it on PS4.
Yeah, pretty
Like,
much.
I didn't see them in Advanced Warfare, Ghost, or Black Ops 2 on PC, but they're out there in Black Ops 3.
I mean, there's hackers on like Xbox. Like,
Wait,
Yeah, but-
do you mean
usually
that
not the brand
consoles can be hacked?
No
Oh,
way.
yeah.
Oh,
That's
I saw
impossible.
a video,
That's
and it was like
impossible.
right around the launch.
Do you
of
mean
the
that
new
like
console.
even the
Dude was
That's like the
hacking
people
on
who say
COD
Mac
Ghosts.
can't get viruses.
No, wait, are you saying that consoles, like the servers supporting consoles, can't be hacked, and the customers that have credit cards on file could have that data compromised? So,
I've never heard
sorry.
of such a thing. I've never experienced it.
Sorry, got a little allergies there.
I refute
I don't
that.
know about you. There was I was I'm a huge fan of Call of Duty 4, and I played Call of Duty 4 way after that ship had I continued playing way after the ship had sailed, to the point where it was just nothing but hackers. And eventually, I got into a match, and it was hacked, and somehow it managed to hack like all of my data
Whoa.
for Call of Duty 4. Like it reset my ranks to 0.
Yep.
Complete and made it to where it was impossible for me to gain rank experience any
On
longer.
360?
Yeah, on 360.
This was on 360.
shit.
Wow.
I've seen that happen.
Yeah, I couldn't
I've heard of
couldn't
those.
level up. I couldn't level up anymore. It basically just completely destroyed
My question is,
any progression.
who the fuck bothers to do this shit?
The same people who bother DDoSing PSN on Christmas.
It's
Yeah.
just
Those-
like,
those
what the
kinda
fuck are you
idiots.
doing?
Yeah.
Yep, something like that. So let's yeah, gameplay. Well,
Oh, I have a real quick question about the Dying Light. So the enhanced edition is going to be $60. If you have the game already, you get it for free. So does that mean if I go to GameStop and get this game used, will I get it all for free?
You should.
Or does it
I would say
digital?
you should. I don't know
They
exactly.
say it's current. All current owners. Like I remember, I pulled this story up.
Yeah.
It was all current owners, so it shouldn't matter.
hmm
Yeah, I was
Long as
just
it's one game.
wondering if it had to be digital owners only, or is it
No,
just
No,
all?
Techland hasn't had a history of doing that with this game.
Yeah.
If you physically have the game or you digitally have the game, you have the game. They don't trip on used owners. They aren't tripping on digital, physical, none of that.
Yep. But let's go ahead and get moving on to our next story here, with good old fashioned Xbox 2. So
Yay.
yeah, I know.
Okay, just to let you guys know, I'm completely in the dark about this. I've never heard of it. I don't know what it is. So yeah.
It's coming out next week.
Yeah, it's coming out next week, man. Where have you
Wait,
been?
what?
Yeah, they've given up on Xbox One. It's coming out next week, my brother.
Yeah, no.
Well, you heard Phil Spencer. He said we ain't catching up.
Okay,
So here's
we're
here's the major thing is that while Phil Spencer seems to be very up on the Xbox 2, which is probably going to happen somewhere in the next few years. Depending on how
Give it 3
badly Xbox continues to do,
I
may
think we're about 3
determine.
years away.
Yeah, it depends on how bad Xbox One keeps doing.
Well,
But here's the
It's not
major
really
question.
bad, though it's actually outsold the M360.
No,
Or
it
it's
hasn't.
863.
No, it
I mean, not
hasn't.
outsold it. I worded that wrongly. It hasn't outsold it. It's outpacing.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
certainly.
worded that badly.
It's just not doing as good as they wanted to.
Yeah,
It's not
no,
what
you-
it is, the
it's-
PS4, which is doing which the PS4 is now outpacing the PS2.
yeah.
Right.
Which
So-
PS4's competition is the PS2. At this
Yeah,
point.
here's the thing. Here's the major question: is that Microsoft, as a business, of course, can potentially see that the revenue streams for the Xbox One are not quite as strong as they should be because, well, you look at Sony's outselling them still pretty much about 2-1, and the issue is on a business is how much is the development costs, R&D, and all that shit that goes into it. Are the stockholders and the board and all of that other corporate shit on there, are they getting the pay they want? Which raises the question of, despite Phil Spencer being really up on it, he doesn't make those decisions.
Right.
My question is, do you guys think that there is a risk that the Xbox 2 may get cut because I have my own opinions on why not, but I want to hear from you guys on do you think the Xbox 2 has potential of not coming out, or is it pretty much a sure shot?
I think there's pretty much. I think there is a risk. I don't think it's necessarily a sure shot. I mean, there's always a risk, but with Microsoft, the thing is with Microsoft, they don't necessarily need Xbox, in my opinion. Like, if they feel like this console is more trouble than it's worth, Microsoft is quicker to drop Xbox than Sony, let's say, would be willing to drop PlayStation. Because on Sony end, PlayStation is their moneymaker. They need PlayStation. So, I know Phil Spencer said that, yeah, we're committed to coming out with Xbox 2, and, we're for the gamers. We're definitely going to come out with one. But let's be honest. How high is he, like, in the decision making? Like, can he really 100% guarantee that? I mean, I don't know. I
He's
think
pretty high up there,
there,
but ultimately, if the stockholders or the board shout it enough, they can make it unhappen.
Well,
right.
I know this is about Xbox 2, but I'd like to. You were talking about like funding and R&D and how much work goes into this. So that's something that bothered me about the Xbox One. I feel like a lot of R&D was misallocated on the Xbox One, and a lot of R&D ended up getting scrapped. Either close, somewhere along the line, through its development process closer to release, and also after their terrible press conferences. I think Microsoft spent a lot of time and a lot of money into putting into places where they shouldn't have.
Yeah,
I think most people can agree with that.
Yeah, like if you look at the,
I mean, you see this happen in games a lot, where a company will they'll push so much money at certain parts of their game, and then halfway through the development cycle, it gets scrapped for whatever reason. It gets scrapped, and the quality of the final product goes down so much when that happens.
Aliens, Colonial Marines, baby.
It happened with Brink. It happened with Brink as well. I think that's one of the reasons why Brink was so lackluster compared to what everybody thought it was going to be, and that's why the alpha looked better than the finished product.
Yep, exactly. Well, and here's my thing: is that this is the reason why I, to kind of, not debunk it by any means, but to say that it's unlikely that the Xbox 2 would get canned, is because they've built their marketing strategy around it for Windows 10. They've built a lot of this interplayability, the connection to it, and that how Windows 10 is going to be more focused on gaming and it's central. They've essentially taken a focus on gaming. Since Xbox is their gaming front, like, yes, they have some gaming stuff on Windows, but let's be honest, you look at the actual how much money of Microsoft gets spent on gaming, Windows doesn't hold a candle to what Xbox gets money for. So, the thing is that's their major marketing front for gaming. I don't think that they're going to just say, oh, well, Sony beat us. Shucks. Well, I guess we're just going to go on home.
Yeah, it wouldn't determine that.
Exactly.
But how much money are they making off of this thing? How much money are they losing? You got to factor that in, because I don't think we all know that, right? But Microsoft, they're a software-based company. So what's to say that they won't scrap the next console and just sell games? Go the way of Sega Genesis. I'm not wishing this on Microsoft, but I've been thinking about this for quite a while. The possibility of it, and I think these fanboys, they really need to get ready for the possibility. Like, what are you gonna do if this happens?
I think that in part too, but it's kind of like, and we see this, like you said, with the fanboys. Some of them are just not going to buy a PC and I think that's kind of what this is, the alternative. I think the Xbox 2 wouldn't surprise me if it was something like a Steam machine. Where it's just a digital console that's set up in your living room. Of course,
with
it's all
Windows
optimized
10.
setup.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's something that's really closed, easy to use. That's kind of what these consoles are now. But of course, it just goes moving forward with technology. and they're going to focus it solely on games again, like the Steam machine.
Yeah.
You're not going to really do anything else on it.
Well, the thing is that I don't think that they will. I think they'll focus more on gaming, but I think the main thing with the Xbox One, what they tried to do, and it was more of a failure on implementation than anything, is that.
Go ahead.
No, they were essentially trying to make a universal media center, and I think they marketed it poorly. Press conferences did not go well. Had they done things correctly, which I'm not sure exactly how that would have happened because I'm no marketing genius. By the way, we'll talk about marketing later in the podcast. They will. I think that had they got off on the right foot, they wouldn't have had many of the woes and the misrepresentation problems that they had.
Yeah.
Because they were just trying to throw it out at so many, this is for gamers and this is for sports fans because you can do fantasy sports. Like, who the
for your
fuck
mama,
cares?
for your grandmother.
But do you think they learned their lesson? I think they've learned their lesson.
They definitely learned a lesson.
Phil Spencer has a good head on his shoulders, and I don't say that about a lot of gaming executives. I like most of the changes Phil Spencer does.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I think with the consoles, it's so important getting your early user base established, and I believe that the early stumbles of the Xbox One when it was coming out just crippled it. What happened is everyone initially they got a PS4, and then suddenly, even after Microsoft's improved, everyone who got a console later, they're like, okay, I'm gonna get the console my friends have. My friends all have PS4, so I'm just gonna get PS4.
Yep.
And that cycle just kind of repeats itself.
Well, Microsoft, with Windows, they run on this thing where, every other release of Windows is, kind of bad.
Yeah, but the thing is that
the 360 was just an anomaly, right? So we're right back to
the thing is that the Xbox, the original Xbox, was actually, obviously you compare it to the 360 or the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. The original Xbox was actually, pretty damn good, all things considered.
Oh yeah, it was pretty awesome.
The Xbox 360 was an improvement in pretty much every way. And before you talk about the red rings on 360s, trust me, there was plenty of bugs and hardware glitches with the Xbox that, I feel that the 360 was also an improvement in that area. It actually was better.
I only red ringed once my 360.
Yeah,
I only got one red ring.
I remember once upon a time with my original Xbox, I had it sitting on this little table beside the TV, and there was some some kind of lacy curtains behind it, and it would randomly shut off. And I kept noticing whenever I'd move those curtains, I would hear static coming off, whenever it would brush the power cable. Yeah, you see where this is going, right?
That's not pleasant.
Yeah. Whenever a power cable, an insulated power cable, is giving off static to curtains and fabric, that usually means that it's not so insulated. Sure enough, they had a recall on the power cable. Now, with the original Xbox, by the way, so everybody's clear, it did not have the external power supply. The power supply for the original Xbox was inside. Funny enough, it's like the same size as the Xbox One, which has an external power supply.
I think that has to do with heating, though, too. You don't want they are really fearing that red ring adapt.
Yeah, they didn't want that again. They couldn't afford that.
So they took the power to the outside. You see, the thing is basically a giant fan.
The red ring hurt them less than the whole shenanigans that this year when they launched.
Oh yeah. Well, they were the only console on the market when they red ring.
The thing that helped them with the 360s, they released a year earlier than PS4, but the PS3. But also when the PS3 came out. That $600 price tag hurt.
That killed them.
That's what got me off PlayStation because I had PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. I was gonna get a PS3, and I saw that price tag. I'll get an Xbox, and the games look better on Xbox.
These consoles just thrive so much on early adoption.
Yeah, they thrive. They thrive on early adoption, and they thrive on people not knowing a lot.
Well, the problem with the Xbox One, I felt, is that it came out rather incoherent. Now, I'm not even talking about the whole like always on DL or DRM stuff.
DRM.
Not even that.
I feel like they were spread out too thin.
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like
too many things.
they were trying to appeal to too many
That's what
different
got me.
audiences right out of the gate. It's like, no, you come out of the gate focused. Like, hey, gamers, here's what we've got. And then after you get the buy-in from those gamers with the early adoption, then you start saying, oh, by the way, fantasy sports fans, did you know that you can do that?
Did.
You know,
That's what PlayStation did,
but the
right?
thing is the PlayStation fundamentally has less tertiary features to it than the Xbox One does. But guess what? The Xbox or the PS4 is outselling it 2-1 because they came out with a focused marketing plan. It was not scattered all over the place.
And honestly, I was on 360 last generation. I had every intention on getting an Xbox One, but them not being focused just totally turned me off to the point where like
It's like you don't know what it's for.
Dude, I didn't. I was like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Is this a cable box? What the hell? What are you talking about? HDMI pass through? The average person doesn't know what the fuck that is.
And
Right, you just confused them.
Yeah, it was.
I would love to see the user numbers on those tertiary.
It's obviously not nearly as much as the gaming. I guarantee you the gaming is at least 70% of the user base, and
it's
then
just
or
nice
more.
to have, like nice to say that we have this, but those people
It's like
stuff.
it's like the TV features.
There's
They're nice
so
to
many.
have.
Yeah, there's so many other devices now that give you these features. Hell, there's smart TVs that have all these services built into them. It's a lot of these things. It's like most people aren't.
Or a $35 Chromecast.
Or the Amazon Fire TV stick, or Roku.
Yeah.
But it's like people aren't going to spend $500 to get a console just for Netflix, Twitch, Amazon, etc.
Right, and I think that's where they
they're
marketed
bonuses.
it off wrong.
Yeah, they're nice bonuses, but they are not selling points
Yeah.
I can buy a tiny USB
on their phones.
Yep.
Or like mobile devices or tablets or laptops. It's like they don't
Right.
need.
And the thing is that I kind of
dongle.
Yeah,
get the $10 Raspberry Pi. Shit.
A lot of people just watch.
I'm kind of there with Kev. If they go with the Xbox 2 being kind of more like a Steam box, but you know, a Steam box has the big picture, right, that usually launches into. If they have essentially a Windows 10 base and then have it just launch into the Xbox app, you know, on Windows 10, it would feel like it's, you know, a gaming console interface, but it's still a Windows platform, you know.
Why are they talking about this already, though? Is it
PS5 is
years?
Yep.
R&D takes years. Console generations are about 5
Well,
years.
it's not
I usually
just
don't hear about it within 2 years.
already been confirmed.
That's not uncommon. It's
Yeah.
not uncommon at all.
The-
Years, unless I'm missing
The
something.
Xbox 360, like let's be honest, was an anomaly. A
Yeah.
console lasting like 8
Or
or
the
9
PS2
years.
for that matter.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
anomalies.
Like the
I mean,
Xbox
I know.
360.
Usually it's 5 years. I get that,
Yeah,
but
PlayStation will support their consoles usually for about 10 years.
right.
Yeah.
But usually you only see the new games for like 5. And then
The
after
thing
that,
is-
new console comes out.
Yeah, the thing is that PS5. There's already been talk about the PS5. Now Sony's obviously a little bit more locked down on it, but there's already been whispers and rumors about the PS5 coming out in the next couple years. And
Yeah, but this is almost confirmed by Phil Spencer.
it was confirmed.
He confirmed it.
He didn't confirm when, but the thing is I think that the reason why the PS5 and the Xbox 2 are already on the table, and like, they've probably been doing R&D on it. Like they've had probably a small team brainstorming since the Xbox One and PS4 were released. They probably had a small team of maybe 3 to 5 people throwing ideas around on what they can do on the next one, watching the marketing feedback, watching the sales, watching the demographics of what is being used, what's not being used, by whom, and they kind of start tailoring their brainstorming, focusing it in kind of a semi-cohesive direction. Then once the console's been out for a few years, then more people start getting added to that team, start getting some artwork, sketches, some renders, you know, hardware stuff, and then they start getting more in specific. So the thing is that I feel also, though, that this is being sped up a bit more because, honestly, there wasn't a huge amount of talk of the Xbox One and the PS4 until I would say probably, what was it, about 2009 or
11.
2010?
It was later than that.
Yeah.
I was thinking more like 2011.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It
like
was
2 years before they dropped. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a few years into it, and I think the reason why that's being talked about so early on in these consoles is because, well, let's face it, they are actually the most lackluster consoles as far as innovation goes.
Right.
Both of them.
I feel like that
the
is
problem with the Xbox One also is I think they were trying to innovate, but they marketed it wrong. They told the message about the Xbox One completely
they
wrong.
innovated in the wrong areas. Really.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
if you look at like a lot of areas of technology nowadays, innovation in general has like stagnated in a lot of ways. Or it's moving along so slowly that
It's been quite a few years before.
Well,
CPUs
we're
really
about the end of
innovated.
that plateau, though. The thing is that you have a lot of new tech that's about to start coming out, like with VRAM is starting to get the new style of VRAM coming out. That was it HBM, I think.
Right.
You know, is going to be the mainstream here soon. The AMD's Fury cards uses it, and then the next generation of NVIDIA cards is going to use it. So we're going to see a bump in the evolution of graphics cards.
I tell you what,
processors.
The space race to
CPUs.
Mars, that's gonna give such an amazing like boost to gaming. I tell you now, the stuff that's gonna come out of that, whew, you don't even know.
I'm just waiting though for some CPU innovations, because the last few years it's like they've incrementally improved. Like CPUs have gotten incrementally a little bit more powerful each year, but there's been like no real big innovation, it feels like.
And Intel's been really bad about that. Like they're releasing
they're just very complacent. We've got this
they're just
year's
slightly
CPU.
faster.
It's like 5% more powerful.
Well, we've kind of like I said before, and I know this isn't about games, but we've reached a certain point in technology where it's going to take a jump in some sector. I'm not sure where it's going to be. Some people say like
I'm going to throw this out here for you guys, and then we're going to have to get moving on our story here. Is that looking at Intel and AMD for the innovation in CPUs is not going to happen. It's actually more than likely going to be someone like IBM, because they're actually currently working on neural processors, as in processors that are mapped like a human brain. And that's going to be the next evolutionary leap in processing technology.
The problem with Intel and AMD is that they're just very set and complacent. Like, they've found it's just so much easier to just keep incrementally increasing.
Well, that's Intel's whole thing.
AMD would want to, just because they're really behind.
Well, the thing is,
they bank on being a little bit cheaper than Intel on
the
average.
thing is Intel has had their business practice set on incrementally increasing. My whole thing is with the Xbox 2, PS5, I really hope, for the love of whatever deity you believe in, stop using AP fucking U's for a gaming console. Jesus Christ!
I don't think the 360 and I don't think the 360 had an APU, did it?
Yeah, they both are using AMD APUs.
The new ones, or you talk about the old ones? I thought the old ones didn't.
No, the Xbox One, PS4 use APUs. The ones before
I was
that,
about the 360. The
360. The
NVIDIA
360 uses a PowerPC SoC, which is pretty much the same damn thing.
And I know the PS3 has some kind of NVIDIA card. I forget which NVIDIA card.
Nope. Cell processor.
Yeah, for the CPU.
Yeah, and that was actually also an SoC. So I have not ran into a gaming console that had a dedicated graphics card since the original PlayStation. The Dreamcast started out the trend of using an integrated CPU graphics core, and then that got carried on to the original Xbox, the PS2, then the PS3, Xbox 360 also did it. They just had different architecture designs to them, I'm pretty certain.
I feel like that's a big problem with the current consoles and why they've been so lackluster, is because they've gone the route of they're a little bit more.
I don't think the hardware really matters as much because
well,
people, when it comes down to it, people are coming to consoles for the games.
I know, but I'm saying
a lot of people don't care about the hardware.
As much as people say they don't,
I would agree with Sean Stone in the chat there that consoles, the DVR game footage and the streaming functionality of this generation of consoles was a step forward. It brought consoles up to par with CPUs.
I agree with that.
But I mean, because previously a console owner had to have now GotY or capture card of some kind to be able to stream console stuff. So I do agree on that front. That brought them up to par with PCs. It wasn't an evolutionary leap. It just brought it up to where PCs were. But the hardware is still behind PC. So,
and I feel like that's one of the problems with these consoles. It was just because they were just they're more powerful, but
they're more powerful than the last generation.
They didn't do a whole lot. They just came out and people were expecting so much more.
With the majority of console gamers, they really don't expect them to be that powerful. Compared to PC, from a console gamer perspective, as long as it was better than the last generation, that's really all we ask for. I mean, that might sound like peasantry to you guys, but I mean, honestly,
it also depends on the game.
I feel like the jump is not as good as it has been in the past, but it still was a jump, and I think that we're happy with that. And on top of that, the games are really what we really focus on, more than the power. But comparing between last gen, this gen, and how significant that jump was. We don't really care about that to that extent.
How much can you separate the power of a console with the quality of a game? Because in some ways, those correlate, because, I mean, in all honesty, how a game looks is kind of important. Yeah, graphics aren't everything, but
it's definitely
not necessarily true. Look at Minecraft. Minecraft looks like absolute shit, but it's the successful
that's an outlier.
Game. People love the game.
Realistically,
it's the same thing with
Undertale.
I mean,
I would even say Dark Souls.
Dark Souls
look like shit, but people love it.
I mean, it's like I can go watch an anime that's, got a eccentric art style, that doesn't have a lot of money put into it, but then I can go watch Unlimited Budget.
I think something that hurts the consoles is that they've spent so many years. Here's the problem. These manufacturers and developers and publishers have worked together to create this, what's the word I'm looking for? They've created a culture of emphasizing graphics. Because it's easy to market. Because they're like, our game looks next gen. It's easy to market. It's a marketing buzzword. It's easy to market to people. And now they've reached a point where graphical fidelity is kind of plateaued. Where, to actually increase the graphical fidelity enough, it requires too much of an investment where it would scare off a lot of the console market itself. So they're stuck in this little spot where they put themselves in, where it's like, they dug their own grave there because they've been sitting there emphasizing the graphical fidelity. And now they're sitting there going, hey, graphics don't matter, guys. It's about the games. It's like,
yes and no. I think you could have made a console that had maybe graphically maybe on par with a 770. And I think that would have been something very doable in that price range that they were trying to sell for. Maybe a 760. But where it's at now, these consoles are about a 650. I feel like it's a nice jump backwards.
But
I feel like it's getting easier and easier to get into PC. Yeah. And because of that, graphical fidelity alone can't really support consoles, because it's actually pretty easy to get a PC now that can beat a console. You don't have to have $1,000 rig.
Yeah, but you have people that aren't going to buy a PC.
I know those people still. Those are the people who are going to look and go I expect my console to look better because that's what they've been telling me. Or they bank on the graphics, but the DVR thing was a great step forward. But what else are they really? I just feel like they're not doing enough different. They released an incrementally better console. and that's all.
I think there's a minority of us that actually compare, console graphics to PC graphics. The majority of gamers in general, they don't compare that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a console gamer,
I know,
you're just looking at last
to
generation
PC,
only, right? You're looking at last generation only, and if you see a jump in graphics, that's good. Like, you're okay. This is awesome. This is great. A lot of console gamers they don't look at PC, so they don't know
That's
what
what
it
I'm
could
saying.
be.
The
You know what I'm
problem
saying?
is
They don't know
I
what it
feel-
could be.
Yeah, I feel like the
Right.
problem is
Set
again
aside
is
out of
that
mind.
the consoles themselves, though, like I'm not even comparing them to PC. It's just they haven't done enough. After like a lot of people were like, it's been 8 years, when this next gen console's coming out, they expect this huge difference, and
agree.
it came out, and it's better, but it's not that
It's
much.
not
It
8
doesn't do
years
that
better.
much.
But
it's
for
like
console
a
gamers,
fourth.
they're not willing to pay. They're not willing to pay the money that it takes to get to that level.
Which is
I don't think they are.
which is a gaming myth, but I hate to cut this off. We have to get moving along.
Right.
Let's get on to our third story here. About EA and EA finally making a dedicated esports division. Something
EA jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, something esports giants like Riot, Valve, Activision, and /Activision Blizzard have been doing for years now. Do you guys now? Here's before I let me preface this question by saying that now EA has had mainstays in the esports market, like Madden. Madden is one of the original esports games. Let's be honest. Before there was Dota tournaments or League of Legends tournaments, I can remember back in the early 2000s having Madden tournaments. I can remember that. That's one of the first ones out there. But they actually never had any dedicated esports marketing team like those other companies have had. Do you guys think it's a little too late for EA to do, or will they be able to kind of move and carry their namesake with like Madden
It's
into
probably
that?
too late. What happens is
I don't think
that
it's too late.
I feel like the people who are already established have. Well, here's what's going to happen. EA, if they were to actually try to create a new market and were successful, sure. But what they're going to do is they're going to create their esports, section, and then they're going to go and they're going to try to muscle into the MOBA territory, or they're going to try and create direct competitors to established games, and it's just not going to work because people are like, I already have League of Legends, I already have Dota.
Mhm.
Why am I going to go?
Yeah.
Well, it's
That's
not
a major problem. But even there, what they're trying to do is they're trying to make Battlefield into an esports game, which I think they tried to do with Hardline. Battlefield doesn't work for esports.
It's not gonna work.
No,
That-
doesn't
that-
understand it.
that-
Like,
People
EA,
are
I don't know what they
large
think.
scale warfare, and you're trying to make it like Call
Yeah.
of Duty.
Yeah.
Well, that's
EA
what I was
sees the
trying
money.
to.
They see the money in esports, and they're like, "We need to jump on that bandwagon."
What they need
Without
to do
really
is make a new
understanding.
IP.
Well,
What's
I
going
don't
on?
think the thing I was thinking about is I don't think EA has an established game that they can really use for it. Like, what do you're not going to use Battlefield? It doesn't suit
They
suit
try.
well
They're
to it.
trying.
You're not
They
going to
actually,
use
if you,
you're not going to use Madden. You're not going to use FIFA. None of these games.
Actually,
have
Madden
what-
and FIFA
Yeah,
do.
the three they're talking about are Madden, FIFA, and Battlefield.
The thing is,
Well, I
is
mean-
Madden and FIFA are great monetarily. They are fantastic esports games monetarily speaking because they have especially FIFA. Shit, dude, you would not believe the esports tournaments for FIFA in Europe.
Yeah.
I've seen tons of those, and they rake in tons of money. I think that it
There's
was
a
stupid
big
for
fucking
EA
deal
not to
over
have
in
in there.
Europe.
EA Sports, there's a reason why EA Sports is its own standalone division of EA that really has no oversight from EA directly. Because
They're just a money maker.
they're a money churn machine. Like they have very little incremental improvement over 1 year over the next, just player rosters altered.
And some years it's not even an improvement.
Yeah,
It's like a regression. It's worse than last
And
year.
it churns money out better than Call of Duty.
Yep,
Like
still
before
Does
Call of
anybody-
Duty was ever incremental, Madden was doing that. FIFA was doing that.
That's what they
Does
learned it
anybody
from.
remember back in the day? EA Sports is the house that built EA.
Yeah.
Does anybody
Oh, yeah.
remember that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's true. That's literally EA would not be the powerhouse they are today had it not been for the Madden franchise and the
Madden,
FIFA
NBA
franchise.
Live, and FIFA
Yeah.
built EA.
Yeah. And as Sean Stone made a good point is that you want to talk about esports getting put on ESPN. Madden and FIFA have a lot better chance and a lot better viewership on ESPN than like your Dota and League of Legends. Unfortunately, I would prefer to see esports like Dota and League of Legends, because to me, I feel like there's a bit more creativity that players can experience in there, because whenever you're looking at Madden and, you know, those sort of games, there's only really so much, you know, strategy you can put into them, because pretty much the generic playbooks that you get in there are pretty set in stone. You might be able to...
That's why I was asking how, like, what is the likelihood of that becoming a large-scale, successful, quote-unquote, esport? And I think one of what we need to look at is, yeah, like, Europe is important, but one of the biggest markets is, like, China. And is FIFA and Madden, is that going to be successful in China?
FIFA is fucking huge in China. You got to realize soccer is popular everywhere else in the world.
I understand the game is I understand the game is popular, but would a dedicated esport?
Yeah, well, the thing is that let me put this out there. FIFA is popular in China, but the only sports team you can play as is the Chinese national team. And the moment that you lose to the computer playing any other team, you actually get taken out back and executed.
Sounds about right.
I feel like one
no, that does not sound right at all. That's not really how China is. I'm being a smartass.
I feel like one problem with having sports games as esports is a lot of people who, it's like, you know, people are gonna, these people are gonna watch esports, but it's like the people who actually care about sports games generally pay attention to the actual professional sports. So they're just gonna go and they're gonna watch football, or they're gonna watch soccer.
Have you seen some of the like the Madden tournaments? Like, check those out. Like, for real, they actually have some huge. Like, I remember walking up to like some mall. I think it was in New York or something like that. And I shit you not, like they just had a truck that pulled up there. The side came up on the truck. They had some TVs there with, I think it was like the PlayStation 2 or something like that. And, you know, they had Madden, I think it was like 2003 or 2004 or something, just came out. And they were doing like a road tour for the national competition championships for Madden. Which more or less, they got a huge crowd together. You would play 1v1, you know, and more or less they had brackets. You sign up right there on the spot. They would be there all day from dawn till dusk. And you'd be playing Madden in like a little round robin shit. And the crowds there were fucking huge. Like, you would draw.
I'm not convinced.
Yeah, like that was like, before esports were even a thing.
I keep hearing what you're saying, Morty, but I still find difficulty seeing that translating into what esports.
Okay, Sean Stone actually has a brilliant way to put it. How popular are fantasy? Yeah, how popular is fantasy football right now?
Right. I think it even goes back to when we talk about the sports fans. Also, people are fans of sports, and they sometimes play these games because they want to kind of fill in one with that team.
Yeah, exactly. You know? They can't play. They can't actually play sports except on a video game.
Not in the professional level, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I look at the sports games. And I'm like.
You want to be go play football outside.
Well, no, it's like if they were gonna succeed as an esport, it feels like they would have already. Like, they've been around. I'm sure people have already had the idea of turning them into an esport. So it makes me wonder, like, why, if it's such a good idea and if it's gonna succeed, why haven't they already tried doing it? I don't know.
Well, the thing is Madden and FIFA by themselves has had success as an esport. However, EA has not had success as an esport, if that makes sense, or with esports. It's because Madden, like, whenever you'd have, you know, this company, whatever company was sponsoring the event, would buy a copy of Madden, you know, buy some marketing licensing and shit like that, Doritos and Mountain Dew, you know, and then they would fund their own shit and make their own money off of it. EA, the only cut they got was for the copies of Madden that got sold, or FIFA that got sold. So before, they weren't making money. Someone else was making money off of their title, right? but they were just making money off the game sales that might have occurred from that. Now they can fund esports. What they're trying to do is fund their own esports event. You know, like how Riot and Valve actually, the international is funded by Valve, although they have like a donation system into the prize pool. But, you know, it's funded by Valve. Riot funds all of their national championships for League of Legends. You know,
Blizzard's been doing the same thing with Hearthstone.
Yeah, Activision Blizzard's been doing that. Activision does the same thing for the Call of Duty championships. Bungie does the same thing for the Halo championship, World Championships. You know, all these other esports established publishers fund their tournaments. EA has not been funding their own tournaments, and as a result, they've been missing out on the marketing and the funding for that. I think that's the part that we're missing, is that they already have titles that are popular in esports. They just haven't been, you know, liquidating them, so to speak. They've been missing out on it.
You know, I know that.
And we're just going to tie this into our marketing topic here, as we're
we'll spend like 5 minutes talking about
that. We've got 5 minutes.
Well, no, this is kind of talking into the marketing, because that's what they haven't been doing, is marketing. We're gonna have to do part 3 on marketing next week, guys. Jeez.
We get on our rants. You know how that is.
I feel like the constant thing, we touched on marketing because we touched on how Microsoft's kind of marketing blunder. You know, came out, crippled their console. Yeah. Like even 2 years later, they're feeling the effects of it.
Well, I think the big thing that hurt the Xbox One though,
consumer perception is such a big deal.
Buy an Xbox 360. Don Matrick might as well have taken the Xbox out back and shot
it. Somebody needs to hold him accountable. He screwed them up big time, man.
Yeah, and they had a golden on that. A nice cushy job over somewhere else. Yep. You know, they paid him millions of dollars.
What did he have against him? Like, what did they do to this man to make him do that to them? Like,
I don't think it was that. I think he was just that damn arrogant. Like that is a very arrogant, very arrogant statement. If you want to play games offline, F you, get an Xbox 360. You don't care.
Here's the thing. This about sums it up. After the success of the Xbox 360, the Xbox division was able to operate with almost zero oversight. That's what the problem was. They were just making money hand over fist. The developers, you know, had their salaries, were making money. They gave no shits about actually making shit work. They were just sitting on it. And then they brought in Phil Spencer, and he's like, "Fuck."
Phil Spencer's like Obama coming into office. Like, I gotta fix all this bullshit.
Yeah. Like, and still get blamed for everything. And still
exactly.
Can you imagine being the guy that has to walk into that? Just think about your first day in the job. You just
walk into the office. There's a trash can on fire. Water cooler's knocked over.
People drunk on the desk.
The fucking office. Papers everywhere. Like, oh my God.
Shout out to Phil Spencer, man.
Yeah.
Great job, buddy.
Well, let's go ahead and start getting wrapped up here. So let's go head around and give our final thoughts here. And our channel plugging and all that stuff. We'll go ahead and start off with our guest here, Nickodemus. Go ahead and give us your final thoughts and channel plugging and all that.
Oh man, final thoughts. Great chatting with you guys. I've checked out a couple of your podcasts in the past and definitely found it entertaining, informative, and you guys are smart as hell. Some of the smartest people on the internet as far as podcasts go. So it's definitely a pleasure to be in here with you guys. The channel is Nickodemus X on YouTube. I'm new to YouTube. This is my first podcast as well. So, you know, I'm glad you guys were being gentle with me, you know. I've been doing YouTube about 4 months or whatever, so I'm still trying to think of a slogan. What do you guys think about this? What's going on, everybody? This is Nickodemus X, live and direct, Mr. Light, Bright, and damn near white himself, Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Community. I'm here for you. What do you think about that?
You get the thumbs up. You get the Kev Silver.
Light, bright, and nearly white. Oh god.
Light, bright, and damn near white. Dude, growing up, man, it was hard for a light-skinned brother like myself. The black folks didn't want nothing to do with me because I was too white, and the white folks didn't want nothing to do with me because I was too black. It was hard.
I remember high school. I had my one black friend who was like that.
Yeah, man, it was
and
hard.
Everyone just made fun of him. The black people made fun of him because he was too light.
Yeah,
White people made fun of him
that
because
was
he
me.
was too
That
light.
was me. That was me, brother. But then the women caught on to how sexy we are, and it was over. It was over, man. And everybody liked me then. But
I
yeah.
like them light skinned girls. I ain't gonna lie. Like, give me Sarah any day of the week.
Oh gosh.
Welcome
All
to
right,
the
go ahead.
Podcast
Go ahead and
podcast where we talk about games.
yes, Travis. Go ahead and give us your channel plug in here, or not channel plug-in, but your final
Hashtag
thoughts.
get Travis on Twitch.
channel
Joe too.
channel to be.
Mhm.
Eventually, once car happens and then rig happens, we'll think about it. Name's Travis. I'm here most weeks, hopefully. I had a good time here.
Where was the liquor bottles at? Zyphon noticed some liquor bottles laying everywhere.
I'm happy to have Nick on. He was great. I'd love to have you back, man. It's a good time.
Oh yeah, man, for sure. I like to come back. I don't do nothing on Sundays anyway. I have no life. So, yeah.
Yeah,
The
because
wife
everybody
watches
does tons
Netflix.
of stuff. Yeah.
She watches Netflix in the room. She don't want nothing to do with me anyway, so I just be out here playing. I just
That's
be out here
very
playing
nice.
games, man. Yeah, be out here playing games, which is fine with me.
Yep. All right, Joe, go and give us your final thoughts.
Go play Undertale. It's great.
Yeah, I need to write that
It's
down.
great music too.
Undertale. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
It
It's coming to
is-
coming to PS4 next week, right?
Coming to
Yes,
PS4 at
I
some
haven't
point.
looked at
I
it.
heard
I
it's
haven't
coming to
looked-
PS4 at some point.
Okay.
And PS4 gets all the popular indies, so it's only a matter of time.
It's a great game for people who just like examining like tropes and like exploring the meta behind genres. You know, being able to see like it really makes you question like why you make certain choices in games. Like what's the motivation behind like, you know, the genocide route, it's like one character's literally, you know, you have no benefit to doing this besides just seeing everyone die. Like, why are you doing it? It's like makes you question.
Because it makes me feel all fuzzy inside. That's why.
I'm mentally disturbed. I've been killing virtual people.
You want a game that makes you depressed? Go buy the early access for Darkest Dungeon.
How about you already no
That game's
go buy the Star Citizen.
No, that's
No.
a game. No, that's a game that'll make you feel suicidal because you've wasted all your money on a game that will never actually
Vaporware.
happen.
Yeah, a game that I like. Well, they did do 2.0, but when are we going to see 3.0? Or here's a better one: the finished game.
I could
Yeah.
buy Star Citizen, or I could just, you know,
The
throw
finished
all my
game.
money in the trash can.
Should have bought
Yeah.
Elite Dangerous 1.
Getting a finished game is almost unheard of these days.
Yeah, true.
Oh, yeah.
Kev,
This-
final thoughts, channel plugging. Let's get it done.
Yes, we know me,
Get it
Kev the
done.
Gamer. I'm here every week, co-host, of course.
He forces his way on in here every week.
Like a true gangster. Like a true
He
gangster.
rides the hype.
mhm. So we're not going to pretend like the show is started by Morty and myself. Okay, but
I'm sorry, who
What?
approached who? What?
that's what I say. You and myself. I told you to hit me when you had ideas. I was all for it, but I wanted
And
to see.
then I ran you over like a train with ideas.
Yes, you did.
And then that's how
And
the
I loved
podcast
it.
started.
I loved it. It's just like what we were talking about on Twitter the other day, where
Yep.
like when we talked about our initial visions, I was doing something more like Gaming Illuminati, what Modern War Negro does. You were talking something like Total Biscuit does, and we ended up being neither.
Yep.
But yeah, of course you guys know me. Check out my channel; it's in the description. I'm here every week. I make sure to keep Morty's in the description also. Kev the Gamer. We just talking about games, having fun over here.
Yep. And you guys know me as well, Angelus de Mortiel. That's Mortiel, for those that can't spell. I hope you guys can spell. A night out to Sean Stone there, heading out for the night, by the way, on his playing his Battlefront, sorry.
Yeah. Shout out to Sean too, because he was on Call of Duty today with me, getting our asses whooped. Now, he was trying. He's not a Call of Duty player. He usually plays Battlefield.
And he
so
was doing
going
better
like
than
2 and
Kev.
20. He was going like 2 and 25. I was going like 16 and 25.
Yeah. But in any case, though, mine's the channel at this point that's pretty much been nothing but Pixel Crashers content for like the last month because, these things called video games Sometimes I play them, I think.
When you're allowed to,
Yeah.
between work and wife.
Yeah, like whenever I get home, I'm like, I don't have time for this shit.
And bunnies.
And bunnies, you know.
And money's to fornicate.
Yep.
Constantly.
But in any case, though, you know, if you guys want to check it out, I do have a lot of content still up there for Dragon Age Inquisition, Warframe, that sort of thing. More will be coming. And then definitely check us out next week for a special pre-Christmas edition of it, where someone's echoing a lot. Thanks, Joe. Dick.
Damn it, Joe!
It's like, I'm just going to put this on echoing while you're watching there. But in any case,
I
tune
had the
in.
volume muted, and it was still just playing the volume.
Good job. Good job.
I don't know what was going on there. Like, it was,
You know,
it's
it was on YouTube.
I expect you
It's
all
all-
to be
It showed the
festive.
volume muted.
It's all good, but like I said, tune in next week for a special pre-Christmas Pixel Crashers, where yes, we will all hand out free stuff to our viewers, courtesy of Kev. He's going to buy it all for us.
Oh, great. Giveaways.
You know
yes.
what? I'm handing out W's in Call of Duty.
You know, I got about 80 copies of Bad
Here,
Rats
hold
I
this
need
L.
to get rid of.
Better. I've got free copies of E.T. for the Atari.
Did you go dig up some landfills?
I'm
Oh.
the copy
But-
of Fat Princess to anybody who wants them, the PC version.
Yep. But in any case, you know,
Version of Bad Princess. Y'all are just so wrong.
no.
Many levels.
In any case, we're going to go ahead and sign off here for the night. And we're going to catch you guys all next week on the Pixel Crashers podcast.